Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stringing It Together podcast, episode 2. My name is Becky, and this is a podcast mainly about knitting, and probably there will be some musical content coming your way as well. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who watched my first episode that I uploaded 2 weeks ago, and everyone who subscribed. A lot more people watched it than I had expected, so thank you for that. And some of you found it just spontaneously, even though I didn't announce it anywhere, but I did go ahead and put a group up on Ravelry. I think it's just the Stringing It Together podcast group. I'll make sure I put the name down here so that you know how to find it, just in case you want to go over there and chat. I just figured it would be good to have that, so I put the show notes too from the first episode up there, and the ones from this episode will be there shortly. Yeah. So again, welcome. Thank you so much. And the other kind of news that I have, I talked about my hat pattern in the last episode, and I actually put that up on Ravelry yesterday. Yay! My first pattern. So it's called the Red Herring. It is a hat pattern. I'll try to insert one of my pretty pictures. My sister is in town. I usually only see her once a year, so it was fortuitous timing, and she is an artist, and she helped me take some gorgeous pictures of the hat. And here it is. So this is the red version of the Red Herring, and this is the green version. My cat is walking around on all of my things back here. Do you want to say hi? Come here, baby. Okay. This is Willow. So this is she's a mutt of some sort, but she was my first cat. I've had her for 5 years. Look at how happy she is right now to be being held. That's Willow. Go away, Willow. My other cat is right here too, but she's not on the move, so I'll leave her be. Anyway, the hat. So the hat was released on Ravelry. If you search Red Herring, you should find it. And the reason it's called the Red Herring, I don't know if I talked about this much last week, but is you might be able to see there's some herringbone stitch and some cat hair, I believe. So there's some herringbone stitch down here, and then it goes into this sort of fake herringbone pattern. So I'm going with like the literary term, the red herring, kind of making a pun out of it. There it is. Yeah. So anyway, a couple people have purchased the pattern, and thank you so much for those of you who have done that. I know it's a weird season a little bit to be releasing a hat. But that's when I finished it. So it's up there. Start your gift knitting for the holidays. And I did want to offer a little bit of a discount. So for anyone who watches the podcast, I'm going to put a 20% off discount code on the pattern if you use the code Stringing It Together, just all one word, all caps, and I will put that down here. I'm sure you're looking at it right now. So that's it for that. Also, just in terms of thanking people who have been supportive, thank you to Debbie and Amy, who gave me the sweetest shout out on their podcast this week. And you ladies are just the best, and I love watching you. And if you don't watch them, run, turn this off, go watch them. The Periscoping Sisters, they're hilarious and so awesome and wonderful. So great. 2 other podcasts that I wanted to mention that I love and always watch, and just for some reason forgot to mention last week, was the Lone Larch podcast. So Jenny hosts that, and she's awesome. She's an arborist, and she talks about trees, and I just love that. And it's just so great that she always podcasts outside in nature, and it's so cool. I could never do that in the city. It'd be too loud. And then also, of course, you all know them, you all love them, the Grocery Girls. They're just so much fun to watch, and we all love them. So if for some reason you're living under a rock and you're watching me and you haven't watched them, go do that. Subscribe. Okay, I feel a little all over the place today. It's been an insane couple of weeks since we last spoke, but moving right along. So right after I podcasted, I got a couple of packages in the mail. I was having a really bad day, and then these two things showed up, and I was like, yes. So the first one was my swap package that came as part of the Periscoping Sisters. Again, Amy and Debbie they're doing a ongoing swap in their Ravelry group, where if it's your birthday month, you can sign up to do a swap, which is great because as adults, we don't get that many presents. So my swap package came, and it's awesome. She went above and beyond. It was crazy. So my swap partner was Jennifer, and what's cool about that is that she's a musician as well. She lives in the Dallas area. No, she lives in Austin. But she went to the Dallas-Fort Worth Fiber Fest. Is that what it's called? Dallas-Fort Worth Fiber Fest. And picked me up some goodies there, and she also made some stuff herself, which is crazy. And I'm just going to talk about it now because I'm like using some of this stuff already. So the yarn, I had told her that I never knit with Stellina yarn, and I was kind of interested in doing so. So she found me this. Check that out. Look at the sparkles. It's blue, which is good. Oh, and there's a little stitch marker on here from the Fiber Festival, which I thought was really cute. So this is Western Sky Knits. There's the tag on the website, is on the bottom. It's a DK weight. It's their Super Twinkle DK. It's 75-25 superwash merino, nylon and stellina, 231 yards. It's 3.5 ounces, so that's a little bit less than 100 grams, I think. Doesn't have the grams on here though. And it's hand dyed by Kim Voldseth. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And there is her information if you want to contact her, or you can go to the website. But it's really beautiful and really soft and squishy. I do not know what to make out of this, you guys. So if you have any ideas, please tell me. It's really beautiful and I love it. She also sent me this. This is 100% silk, which is crazy. And this is really funny. She told me this in her note that her sons ripped off the tag. But she made a tag for me, which I thought was really sweet. This is Art Yarns Regal Silk DK. It's 50 grams, 163 yards, hand painted, 100% silk. It is heavenly. And again, I have no idea what to make out of this. I've never knit with 100% silk. I've done silk blends. Oh, it is so soft. I just want to knit a beard out of it so I can wear it on my face because it's so nice. So, Jen, if you're watching, thank you so much. But that was not all. She sent me some other things that have disappeared. Like some iced tea. Actually, I haven't used that yet. The iced tea and some chocolate and tea and things like that. She made me a bunch of these stitch markers, which I'm sorry I've been using them, so they're not packaged super nicely anymore, but they're a couple different sizes of just these dudes. Love them. And probably my favorite thing, I mean, I love it all, so I don't have a favorite, but this was the surprise. She made me this bag. She made it for me. It has some stuff in it, hang on. But it's beautiful, and it's one of those things that, like, I opened it up and I gasped because I just think this fabric is so gorgeous. And it might not be something that I would have picked for myself, but I'm so in love with it. Love it so much. So it's a drawstring bag. It has this beautiful blue in there, this gorgeous ribbon, and she made this. I love it so much. So thank you so much. So that's it for that swap. I have a couple more things that I got separately, but I will talk about those a little bit later. Great. So moving on, finished objects. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of tea, hang on. I feel like this has been a strange couple of weeks for knitting. It's been really crazy, a lot of traveling, and there have been days where I've been too tired to knit, which is normally not a thing that happens to me. But I did manage to finish a pair of socks, which were, I had most of one done last time I podcasted, but now they're done. Here they are. I love them. I love them. I don't have sock blockers, so I can't show you, but they fit my foot perfectly. They're just a vanilla sock, but it's Arnie and Carlos. Oh, I didn't write it down. I think it's Tin, Tinn is the colorway. It'll be in the show notes. And then this was just, I think it was called Flax. Oh, my brain. What is it called? Patton's Cry. So, they're perfect. They fit my foot perfectly. I made them match perfectly, which was fun. Normally I don't care if they match, but I thought with such big kind of pattern repeats that they would look better matching. And I knit them on Carbon's DPNs, US 1.5, and 48 stitches, which I was worried was going to be too few, but it fits me perfectly. I have pretty narrow feet, so I think I might have found my perfect number for vanilla socks, which is awesome. So I love these, and I have somehow kept myself from wearing them so that I could show them nice and new and pretty, but they're going to be worn soon. So that's my only FO, sadly. Moving on to whips. So, okay. So I'm sorry, I'm so scattered today. I'm not doing great. Living in my, showed this last time, my obsession, Fawn in the Fox bag by the lovely Laura. Don't know why I called her Laura. This is my Madewell sweater, and I showed this last time, and I was working on the body still, and since I have finished that, and I did the border on it, which is just a 1x1 rib, and I looked up I was worried about the bind off because I started binding it off and it felt really tight. So then I looked up a stretchy bind off, which I just found a very pink knits tutorial on YouTube. So if anyone's looking for something like that, I recommend it. And then I have started on one of the sleeves. So I made a little bit of progress on it. I haven't touched this in about a week. So, but it's sort of coming along, kind of. I was watching Jenny this morning and I saw that she was talking about how she wished there was magical fingering weight yarn for sweaters so that knitting your fingering weight sweater wouldn't take 4 years. And Jenny, I'm with you. This is taking forever and I'm tired of it. But at this point I'm kind of glad to have something that's mindless knitting after I finished my vanilla socks because the rest is not. So I showed these last time as well, but they're sort of in a sorry state. Okay, let's talk about the Fine and Dandy socks. I made a lot more progress. I think I was only like there last time. I was confused about when to start increasing for the heel. This is my first pair of toe-up socks, but I actually reached out to the designer and she told me where to measure because I wasn't sure. So I did that, but then somehow they're too big. They're too long. I don't know, the heel felt like a big pain to me. So I've gotten this far, and they're a little big and a little baggy on my foot. It's not super extreme, but I'm not feeling excited about them anymore, so I'm wondering if I should just frog them. My other thought was maybe I should give them to my boyfriend if they fit his foot, which I was talking about as we were driving the other day. Well, he was driving, so I couldn't very well see if it fit on his foot. But they're just, is this going to be really weird if I like put my foot on the screen? They're just kind of big. They just don't fit real well. Oh my gosh, you can't really see that. See, like, look at how this is fitting. That's not right, right? I mean, I don't know, on the pattern it kind of looks like the heels back. The color doesn't really change until it's, I don't know. Maybe they're not so bad. I don't know what to do. If anyone has any opinions, I'd love to hear them. But safe to say that they've been on a little bit of a hiatus the last few days. I just haven't touched them. I might just finish the first one because I'm really close to doing that, and then kind of decide if I want to cast on the second one or not. But they're languishing right now, so those are those. Okay, and my last whip I am super excited about. So last time I had showed some Leading Them Fiber Arts yarn that I had got at YarnCon in Chicago, and I had mentioned that I had ordered some for a specific pattern that I wanted to knit, and that yarn came. They told me, because it was a special order, they didn't have it there, but they said they would make it special for me and send it to me, and it should probably be here within 3 weeks. It came 6 days after I ordered it, which was insane. So super fast. Okay, you guys, look at this. Look at it. I was really drawn to this. They had it on a different base. And this is not my normal color go-to thing. I'm really not into pinks and purples, but something about this cried out to me. And then after I ordered it, I hadn't even taken a picture of the yarn that they had there, and I was freaking out that I would not like it when it showed up. But I love it so much. So I have 3 skeins of it. It's on their sport base, which is called Callback. And it's Gothic Queen is the colorway. So there's that. And there's also their information. They're on Big Cartel. Go check them out. Their yarns are awesome. I love this yarn. It's beautiful, and I love working with it. It's so soft. So this has been living in my bag from Jen, because it kind of matches, I think. But this whip is kind of a funny whip to show. I've done a lot of work on it, but it's not very impressive. So let me show you here what I got. It just looks like a weird garland right now. So this is a shawl, but it's a bottom up shawl, which I've never knit. I don't think I've even ever heard of this, where you start at the bottom and you knit up. I'm a mess, but I have the pattern here. This is one of those that I saw her post a picture of this on Instagram, and I knew I had to have it. It wasn't even out yet, but I was like, what is the name of that pattern? I have to knit that. So this is the Willow Bank shawl by Isolde Teague, and I'm obsessed with it. Obsessed. Look how beautiful that is. I think they're, yeah, hang on. I'm gonna just fold this so I don't give you away any of the instructions, but there's some more pictures of it, and I just think it's so gorgeous. I'm obsessed. But the first direction is to cast on 487 stitches. 487. It was a lot of stitches, guys. A lot. So knitting 1 row is a pretty big accomplishment. But I've finished the first chart so far. So if I can kind of spread it out. There's what it looks like on the right side. And it's really beautiful. And once I got through the first couple of rows and started grooving on this chart, I just started loving it. I thought it was going to be a pain because you're starting at the end and you're starting in the black hole, but I've really been enjoying working on this. Even though it doesn't look like I have much to show for it, it's going to be fun because the more I knit, it's just going to get smaller at the top and easier. So I'm knitting this. My cat is playing with it. I'm knitting it on my first set. These were a new acquisition of carbon circulars. I knit the socks that I finished on DPNs, but I wanted to try the circulars. I'd heard that the join was annoying to some people, and I've been thinking about maybe getting another set. I have a Hiya Sharps circular interchangeable set, which I adore. So I don't really need another set, I guess, but, and I like these. I like them. They have a little bit more drag, not as much as wood or something, but a little bit more drag to them than the Sharps. And part of the reason I love the Sharps is that they're so speedy, and they're sharp enough, but they're not lethal like the Sharps are, but I love that about them. People either love that or hate that, but I'm enjoying it for now. I don't know if I'm a convert to carbons. I love the look of them, but at the end of the day, it's how they feel. So I'll get back to you on that. So that's the Willowbank. I love it. Isolde Teague. I love a lot of her patterns. And she also has out a pattern for a sweater. I think it's just called the Polworth sweater. And I need to knit that too. And I want to knit it in her yarn someday when I'm allowing myself to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn. So that's definitely coming up. So that's actually it for my whips. I only cast on one new thing. I'm pretty good normally at keeping things, you know, like a couple of projects going at once, but not so many. But I feel like that's not very interesting for a podcast. So I'll just try to knit faster so I can cast on all of the things. Okay, so other acquisitions. Already showed you this. The only other thing that I got, I'm supposed to be yarn dieting, but I'm really bad. I always cheat. So I cheated yesterday. Yesterday I sang 2 shows of my children's opera, which I'll get back to. And I ended up out in Oak Park, 5 minutes away from the Fiberista Club brick and mortar store. They have an online shop, which is great. And I know they do clubs through the mail and things like that. And I had seen online that most of their yarn right now is 20% off, including Hedgehog. So could I resist going? No. So I went, and I wasn't totally bad. I only got 2 skeins. They were 20% off. And they're Hedgehog. Look at this. Look at it. So this is some Reno singles, which is their DK weight, and it's the stone colorway. And it's like, it actually, oh my gosh, it looks like my cat. I'm gonna try to pick her up. I should call this the Quiton. This is Quiton. She was kind of resting, but here she is. This is the Quiton colorway. Like, look. Doesn't this just look like all of her colors? So cool. Hi, Quiton. Okay. Anyway, I love this. It's so soft. It's so squishy. It's so beautiful. I feel like it's not really even picking up the color of it super well. Maybe if I hold it back here over my face. But this, I was thinking that I wanted something to pair with my hand-dyed yarn that I showed last time. Although I'm kind of wishing this was darker. I was thinking about maybe brioching something, perhaps, because also I have this beautiful thing that I have been saving in my stash for a while. This is 3 Irish Girls, and it was a custom colorway for Stephen B at Stitches Midwest last year. And I've been saving it for a very special project, but I realized that this orange matches this perfectly. And then when you put those in there, that could be something really cool. So I'm thinking I want it to be mostly neutral and then just some of the orange coming through at different points. Maybe I'll design something. I don't know, but I'm kind of into that. I feel like I'm talking forever, so I'm gonna move on. Skeins of my dreams. Skeins of my dreams. So I cheated on my yarn diet a little bit, but I've been lusting. Sorry, city noises. I've been lusting really hard over a certain shop in Paris, certain yarn dyer You probably are aware of them on Instagram. So it's La Bien Aimée, and their yarns are ridiculously beautiful. And they had an update on the 15th, and I had to physically restrain myself from, it was in my cart, and I was like, no, you can't, no, don't do it, you know. And actually, everything that I want is still available, and I keep checking, kind of hoping that it's gone so that I won't be tempted, but kind of also hoping that it's still there. So what I'm lusting after, I'll try to insert a picture. I don't really know how to do that, but maybe I can. They have some kits put together for the Cosmic Dandy kits, which was designed by, her Instagram name is Julie Knits in Paris, and she knits a lot of West Knit stuff, and just gorgeous. I love following her on Instagram, and this shawl is really beautiful. And there was a combination of, it was Yellow Brick Road colorway, paisley, and then it was just sort of a white or cream neutral mohair. And those three skeins would make the shawl. They're so beautiful, and I want it so bad. And then also what I want from there is the Fringe Supply Company, their field bags, which I've wanted one for a while, but they're pretty pricey, and I haven't been able to commit. Also because I feel like the colors weren't really speaking to me, but that shop has a custom one that's bright yellow, and I want it so bad. So in my dreams, I ordered all of those things, and they're on their way to me, but they're not. And then the other thing is Isolde Teague's blend number 1 for the pullover sweater, which maybe I'll get at some point. Maybe I'll get all those things at some point. I don't know, but not now. I have to behave. So that's pretty much it for the knitting stuff. But I mentioned last time that I was thinking about talking about music and that part of my life, so I'm going to try to talk about some of that now. So if that isn't interesting to you, see you later. If you want to stick around, you may, because I did get some feedback that you were interested. And I'm not totally sure how to make this segment work, but I will try. So I just figured that for the time being, I would talk about the opera tour that I've been doing, because it's been taking up a lot of my time. Sometimes I'll post pictures relating to that on my Instagram and stuff like that, and maybe I haven't thoroughly explained it. So this company that I work for is called Opera for the Young. They are based in Madison, Wisconsin. And, we travel to schools all over the upper Midwest, and we perform operas, and we involve the kids, which is a really unique thing that this company does. That is why I love working for them, because I think there are a lot of outreach sort of endeavors that go out into schools and they perform for them. And sure, there's value attached to that, but I think it enriches it for the kids if they can be involved, or at the very least, if they can see other kids being involved, because it kind of makes it more attainable or more accessible to them, I think. So, and also what this company does is they do real operas. They just adapt them to be shorter and in English, and, you know, more like jokes that kids will laugh at and things like that. Because also sometimes it's just a opera that has been written for the purpose of performing it for children. And kids are really smart, and they respond to art just as much as adults do. So what I love about the company is that we do real opera. So this year we're doing The Magic Flute, which is Mozart, which is a really popular one. Whether you know it or not, I'm sure that you know some of the music from it. I'm sure you've heard it. And it's so much fun. They love it. We love it. So I've been out doing that. When we're out on tour, we do 2 shows a day. We do a show at 9:30 in the morning and a show at 1:30 in the afternoon, typically. And we have to be there about 75 minutes before every performance, because the kids have learned their music ahead of time, hopefully, with their music teacher, but we have to kind of work them into the show and rehearse with them. So it is really exhausting, because we also have to load in all of our stuff. So our set is on these big PVC pipe frames that we hang our drops off of, and then all of our props and all of our costumes, and it's a very prop heavy show. Most of us have to play more than one character, so we have to put more costumes on. So it's a very tiring show. You get really sweaty because you're wearing more than one costume at once. It's insane. And I did this week, I took a time-lapse video from the side of the set, kind of just showing what goes on, especially backstage. You can see a little bit of the onstage action. And actually one of my castmates took a time-lapse video from the front, but I don't think I should include that because there are children on it. But you can just kind of see how fast-paced and insane it is. There's one little moment where the tenor, who is the only person that only has to play one role, is kind of taking a nap back there. But this week I did have the chance to perform with my students at the school that I teach at, and that was, actually it was yesterday, and that was just such an incredible experience, and it was so much fun to do. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun, but especially just doing it with my students was really special. And also it was nice, I think, for the faculty at the school just to see what I do when I'm gone on tour. And, you know, I'm lucky that my principal lets me go and perform. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about that part of my life. I know that some of you have been asking for me to actually be singing, and a few people had asked if I could record any of that show, and unfortunately I can't include that because it's copyrighted. The adaptation is copyrighted. However, I'm going to try to put a link in the show notes. The company just put out a pretty cool promo video, and there is some singing on that. It's not me, it's some other people. But you can kind of get more of a sense for what they do. And if you're a teacher or a parent somewhere in Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, or Indiana, I mean, you can try to get us to come to your school. It's relatively affordable because the company does a lot of fundraising, and they pay for half of what it costs to have us come there. So, yeah. So that's that. And then as far as future music stuff goes, I am getting ready to do a recital with my boyfriend in a couple of weeks, so maybe we can include some sort of musical content based on that. So I'm just going to end with a couple of general blathery things about my life that I haven't already covered. Like I said, it's been an insane couple of weeks. I was on tour for one of the weeks, and then this past week I did go out to Ann Arbor to see Nathan, and he was really busy. He's almost done with his master's degree, which is good, because then we get to spend most of the summer together. Yay! So that's really great. But in the meantime, he's crazy busy. And so it's been a lot of driving. The next 2 weeks, I'm on tour both weeks, which is going to be completely insane. Lots of driving. Because especially the last week is all the schools that got canceled because of snow days. So geographically, they don't make any sense. And actually the second to last week geographically doesn't make much sense either. Most days we won't have time to actually go anywhere for lunch, and we just have to eat in the van because we have to drive the whole time in between shows. So it's going to be really nuts. But hopefully I won't have to drive all of that time, and I can get some knitting done. I'm going to be spending next weekend in Madison. I can stay at the artistic director's house just because it would be kind of pointless for me to come all the way back to Chicago just to turn around after one day and head back for another week of tour. So that's what I'm up to. Getting ready to move out of my apartment. I'm going to move out on June 1st. And I have a lot of stuff still to get rid of, even though I've been working on that for months. Madness. So that's what's happening. But yeah, knitting is my zen. Hopefully it's yours too. Make time for it. If you're looking for a hat pattern in the middle of April, remember that code for the hat. And other than that, just keep knitting. And I will see you guys when I see you, hopefully soon. Bye!